From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, live from Brooklyn. It's Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hey, my friend.
We are really excited. Are we excited? In this episode, we're dorking out about 1991's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. This was a listener request from Joseph, and everything we do it for you, our listeners. I'm going to say right now, Joseph, I'm sorry, because I think you might really like this movie. And, well, I can't speak for you, Margo, but me, not so much.
I have some thoughts about it, for sure.
I will say, I remember seeing this movie in the theater, and I actually really liked it back in 91.
It was the summer of 91. I think I did too. I didn't remember it being this damn long. It's 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Oh my God. I thought it would never end.
Oh my God.
I still love Kevin Costner. I really loved Kevin Costner back then. I remember liking it, saying that it, like, proudly proclaiming, like, this movie is super entertaining. It's super fun. And then I have not watched it in a really long time, and I was like, this is going to be a fun rewatch. And I was very disappointed. It was not fun.
It was pretty tedious, I have to say. It's a tough slog of a movie, and I don't know why. All the elements are there.
Yeah.
I don't know why it doesn't all come together, but who's the director? Kevin
Reynolds.
Yeah,
who also did Waterworld.
And didn't they also work Dances with Wolves? He was really like the second assistant director on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we both like Kevin Costner, by the way. You and I are on record as saying how much we like them.
Yeah.
And by the way, that castle at the very end where they do all the fight scenes and stuff like that, that's Carcassonne in France. I've been there to that castle.
Is it super cool?
It's amazing. It's medieval. It's like a Ren Fest, but a cool Ren Fest. Like there's everything. There's from a youth hostel, like up to a 4-star hotel. And during the day, it's packed with visitors. And then at night, they draw the bridge and they kick them all out. And it's just the people staying. And
cool.
I remember it's so cool. My sister, I remember we went together. I remember we were saying, like, they must not have a lot of lawsuits in France because there were no signs up. They didn't block anything. You could go anywhere in there. And it was super cool. And I totally recommend, if you ever get the opportunity to go to Carcassonne, France, you'll see it in the movie. Like you got to go. It's amazing.
You said something very interesting in there. You said Renfest. This is a total Renaissance fair movie.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was using the slang.
No, but it's like Renaissance fair, the movie, basically.
Filled with a bunch of Americans trying different kinds of English accents.
Yeah. And here's
not quite getting it.
And here's the thing. Like, I'm kind of fine if they don't want to do the accents. I'm fine with it. Like, you don't need to do the accents. Like, you could make a really fun, entertaining Robin Hood movie. You don't need the accents. But the, like, trying for the accent.
Yeah, that's where it happens.
Is very distracting. And this movie... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when Kevin Costner's trying to do the English accent, he looks like Kevin Costner trying to do an English accent. When he's just talking and not caring, he looks like he's having more fun.
Yeah.
And it's much more enjoyable when he's just sitting on that log with the kid, just trying to, can we get some wine for I can't even do the words, but can I get some wine for my friends? Like, it just sounds so stilted.
Mm-hmm. That's just not his thing. And that's okay. Not every actor needs to be amazing with accents. And Costner, I mean, I guess props for trying, but it makes for a really distracting movie. And it kind of ties into one of the things I wrote in my notes, which is this movie kind of starts as like this gritty reboot of Robin Hood. Mm-hmm. And then by the end, it's almost like a buddy comedy. I'm like, what is this movie?
It's like 4 people directed it, because there's the scenes where they have the very first scenes, like you said, very gritty. And I think I enjoyed that when I first saw it in the movie theater. And Morgan Freeman is there as Azim. And I always want to say now, because of John Travolta, Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem. But I always like Morgan Freeman. I always welcome him.
Right.
I like everybody here, but that's very different than from what their buddy friendship after that. The stuff with Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, who's a fantastic actress.
Yes.
And they make her super tough and then so helpless at the end.
Right?
That she's going to get raped by Alan Rickman, played for laughs.
Yeah. That's hilarious. He's trying to rape her.
But he can't get it up. Oh,
because
boy.
everybody's watching him rape her. It's hilarious.
It's
So
a PG-13 movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, not appropriate for 13-year-olds, and it's violent and rapey.
It's very violent and very rapey.
And we could even get into that scene a little bit more later, but I was very confused by that scene. I'm like waiting for them to like start the Benny Hill music or something, like doo, 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 doo. Like it's so weird. But this movie was insanely popular. It was the second highest grossing movie of 91.
Which is astonishing.
Behind Terminator 2. It made more money than Beauty and the Beast.
Oh my God.
It made more money than Silence of the Lambs. Like, it was really, really popular. And it's just, and like I said, I loved it back then, but it was a tough one to watch. It took all my strength not to like pick up my phone and start playing Words with Friends. And
it's hard. It's hard because there's a lot of filler going on here. Honestly, I think if this movie were like a half hour shorter, we would remember it more fondly.
I think that's true.
I think there's just too much going on.
Yeah.
But I like Michael Wincott. I love him. Guy of Gisborne. He's Alan Rickman's, the Sheriff Nottingham's cousin or whatever. I always like him. He was in The Crow.
Mm-hmm.
He's usually a character actor. He's a character actor. I usually really like it. He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
But like he's in another movie. Yeah. Alan Rickman's in a whole other movie, which I would actually love to watch.
I would love to watch the Alan Rickman movie. His Sheriff of Nottingham, is he supposed to be like a rock star? Because he kind of looks like a rock star with like the teased, like big hair. And just the way he is, like, you know, meet me in my room at 10:30 and, you know, you at 10:45 and bring a friend and like all that. Like he seems like kind of rock star-ish.
Well, they tried to hire him twice. He turned it down because he said this script is dog shit. I'm not doing it. And then finally they said, look, you can have your own people work on your lines. Mm-hmm. And so he got these comedian friends. One of them's a woman, to help rewrite his scenes.
Yeah. And
apparently Kevin Costner cut out a lot of his stuff because in early screenings, like they said, who do you think the hero of this movie is? They're like, I don't care. I like the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Right.
Like he's entertaining.
Yeah. Well, he could do the accent, right?
Yeah. He certainly can. And Alan Rickman, R.I.P.
I know.
Taking bad material and making it gold.
His line delivery in this movie was cracking me up. It was just like, you know, get the troops. Like just the way he says things, like raise the dates
and cancel Christmas. It's great. I mean, yeah.
He's in the movie that maybe we all think it is, but then you watch it and you're like, oh, it's not that movie.
Yeah.
What do you think of Kevin Costner's hair in this movie?
It looks like a wig. It is such a bad haircut. And I know he has glorious hair at this time, or I thought I did. I don't know if they had to fill it up or something. Like it was thinning, and he put some stuff in there.
It looks like
it doesn't move.
No, it's really weird. It's like an 80s mullet.
Yeah.
Which again brings me back to the Ren Fair thing. Like it's just this 80s mullet, and I'm like, it's like royal business in the front and a peasant party in the back. Like it is like so like off-putting, kind of like Christian Slater's hair too, with like, because Christian Slater's hair is still like super 90s, like floppy and feathered, and it's like his Heather's hair.
I couldn't believe it. I forgot Christian Slater was in this movie. I actually yelled out loud,
yeah.
"Oh my God, that's Christian Slater!" Because whom I normally really like.
Yeah. I think they were hoping that, teenagers, people like us, would be like, "Yay, Christian Slater," and we go see it, and we did. It totally worked.
Oh yeah, totally. We fell for everything here. The song was like a big hit at the time.
God, you couldn't get away from the song or the video.
Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams was, I remember I was talking about the movie with friends after, they'd seen it too. And one of them, she was a married couple. I remember she's like, "Oh my God, when you see the movie, doesn't that song mean so much more right now?" And I'm like, really? It's a pretty basic ballad, but okay.
It really is. And I always mix it up with the one from the Three Musketeers movie. With the all
Sting.
For one and all for love. Such a bad song.
Sting.
All for one and all for love. Oh, it's so bad. And it's like Sting and like Rod Stewart, right?
And Rod Stewart.
And Brian. Oh boy. What a group. That's a power group.
But, Bryan Adams had a lot of ballads that did really well.
He was insanely popular in the 80s and 90s.
I like his rock stuff better.
Yeah. I used to like Bryan Adams. I mean, not that I don't like.
I still do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I still like the stuff I used to listen to back then.
I saw him in concert at the Cow Palace in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh, that's very close to my house.
And they had a thing at the time. They played, the last song was Summer of '69. That was one of the encores. Mm-hmm. And then they take off on the stage, and then everything goes dark, and you're like, where are they? And then they show up in the back of the theater and then run to the front. What? And we're high-fiving people as they ran through the crowd and jumped back on the stage and then played another song. And I remember thinking, oh my God, that showmanship is incredible. Like, this is years before I saw Nirvana and stuff like that. Like, I just thought this was rock and roll.
That's hilarious.
And it was. It was.
Yeah, of course it was.
Yeah, he was great.
He was the shit back then.
Totally.
So I wrote many a thing in my notes. So why does Adele Azim keep referring to Robin as Christian? Like, he just keeps referring to him by his religion.
Okay. Once again, so it was on Hulu. So that's how I saw this movie, because you have the closed captioning, because I can't hear anything anymore.
I also watched it with the closed captioning.
That made so much more sense, because I tried watching on Google Play without it. And by the way, Google Play says they have closed captioning, and they don't. I know.
That seems wrong.
It's a ripoff.
Yeah.
So I listened like for half an hour, and then I'm like, I can't take it anymore. I don't know what anybody's saying. I don't understand what's going on. So like look through Hulu, and boom, it was there. Anyway, Christian, because I guess he is a Christian, and then he's playing a Muslim.
Yeah. So he's referring to him by his
religion.
Yeah. Hey, Christian. And Robin doesn't well, what's up, Muslim? Like, it's so weird.
It's so weird.
I thought maybe it was I was like, is this like his middle name or something? I don't know. But it isn't. It's just his religion.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I guess, Robin of Locksley, that's who he's playing.
Yes.
And the sheriff of Nottingham is starving people and treating them terribly. Mm-hmm. And so Robin becomes this folk hero because he robs from the rich, he gives to the poor, and the poor people kind of give Robin a hard time. And then he proves to be one of them. And then they build this kingdom out of nowhere. Like,
I don't know how he actually proves that he's one of them.
I don't know. They give him a hard time.
Because Little John basically kicks his ass twice with sticks. By the way, Robin gets kicked in the nuts like 5 times in this movie.
Not nearly enough as far as
Not nearly enough. I agree. So Little John kicks his ass, and then, I don't know, I guess Robin tricks him and kicks his ass finally. And then they have a meal together, and then all of a sudden Robin's like, I will lead you. Oh, thanks, Your Majesty. They've been doing fine without him. They don't need him.
And they build these houses in the woods like right away.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing. They build all these houses and they're up in the trees. And I'm like, you guys realize that like men can climb trees, right? These guys aren't dogs. They're not going to like just circle. Oh, well, I can't get up the tree. Like they could get up there.
Of course they can. And but it's haunted, right? Because they think that that's what I'm remembering now. Right.
Yes.
They thought it was haunted and that's why they didn't go into the woods. But eventually people go like, well, that sounds stupid. I'm going to try anyway.
Yeah.
And they're going to go in there. And they do go in there. But we meet, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. So Marion, who Robin knew when they were kids, and she's running this mansion, and the sheriff of Nottingham has an eye for her. And she and Robin, when we first meet her, she's covered her face, and she's a badass.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna kick his ass like a ninja.
Yeah, she kicks him in the nuts.
Kicks him in the nuts.
I think that might be nut kick number 1.
This should be the little ding, ding, ding thing when we do that. Nut kick number 1.
Ding, ding.
And then the mask comes off, and it's Mary, and he goes, "Oh my God, it's a woman! She nearly kicked my ass." That's the one and only time she has any kind of fight in her.
Right.
After that, they make her weaker and weaker as the story goes along, which is so frustrating. Because, like I said, it's Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. At one point, he's talking to her, and then Robin just slaps her in the ass and walks away.
Yeah, what the?
And we're supposed. Oh my God, the sexism in this movie.
It's so ridiculous. Like you said, she's kicking ass at the beginning, and by the end, she's basically like standing on a chair and is like, "Eek, a mouse!" Like, you know, with her, like she's just ridiculous. And so he is like, "I'm gonna lead you," and they're like, "Okay," even though they don't need a leader, but whatever. Fine. They should have been listening to Will Scarlet at that point, I guess, which is Christian Slater's character, in case you guys don't know. And they immediately build like all their houses up in the trees, and I was like, "Oh, it's like an Ewok village. It's so cute."
That's what I thought. The Star Wars Christmas special.
Yeah.
Like that's where all the Wookiees hung out and those kind of things.
Yeah, it's so cute. Oh, little Ewok village.
And then a woman gives birth, and it's the creepiest. It's the most horrible birth. Azim knows what to do. It's like a breech birth. And then afterwards she's done, and then all of a sudden we find out it's her 8th kid.
Good Lord.
Good Lord, woman. And then so the sheriff, so Michael McShane shows up as Friar Tuck. And I remember loving this when I saw this in the movie theater, loving his character, like, because he's such an asshole.
Right.
And he gives him a hard time. Like, that goes on forever. Like, he really fights back a number of times before he gives in. And it's like, we just want Friar Tuck to join them.
Yeah. But we get to it. And then we get Robin shooting his arrows. So we get the arrow cam.
Yep. The arrow cam was a big deal. Remember the trailer?
Big deal. It's all over the trailer. I think they show it like 3 times in the trailer.
Yeah.
And then we get Marion comes to visit them at the Ewok village and sees Robin swimming naked.
Oh my God. And she's in love.
And she's in love after looking at his pale white ass. Like, I'm like, it's cool that he has like he's got the tan, the tan lines. I'm like, that's so medieval. It's just funny because I don't think is into him before that, but then she sees that butt and she's like, oh yeah.
Well, then and there's some like weird editing that goes on because at one point he goes to a house where she is and she's by candles and they're talking. And then she says to him, Robin, take a shower. And then he says, okay. And then you're like, what's that all about? And then at the very end of the movie, he's in horse shit or cow shit. They mix up 2 scenes. Yeah. So it doesn't. Yeah. There's this movie the editing in this movie is crazy.
I know. Like, I can't believe it didn't win for best editing.
Like the Queen movie.
Like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody. There's a clip on Twitter of Bohemian Rhapsody. There's one scene in particular where it has like 30 edits.
Oh my!
And it's just people sitting around a table, and it won for best editing.
So, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen that scene, and I'm like, what is happening in that scene? I don't know. So there's this whole thing about how people can't find the village, the secret Ewok village. And, Marion kind of stumbles on it. So it can't be that hard to find. But they like blindfold her or whatever so that she can't find it, again or something. But then later in the movie, literally a blind man finds it. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Like Duncan, the, servant to Robin, he leaves with Marion, but then gets on a horse because he's blind. Of course he can just get on a horse. And he's like, come on, horse, lead me back or something. I need your eyes, my friend. And then the horse takes him back to the Ewok village. And so literally a blind man can find this place that's supposedly so hard to find.
Well, people are going to light fires because they need heat and light.
Yeah.
And they need to cook food. Like eventually smoke's going to rise from that and they're going to be found. It's not like a plan. Like we can stay here forever. You got to get out sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what happens is that they have this incredible, this upsetting scene where they're lighting the village on fire. And there's the mother with the baby.
Yeah.
Holding this, oh my God, it's awful, with this baby. And then Robin grabs her and the baby and gives her back. And their village is all burnt down. And that's Robin's now, his whole thing is like, all right, this is bullshit. We're taking over right now. We're going after him. And so they all get together and they're going to fight the Sheriff of Nottingham. And that is like the last third of the movie. It takes forever to get there, is my point.
And that's the best stuff in the movie.
Because
that's where they finally were like, fuck it.
Right.
Let's have some fun. And that's when like the action starts, and I don't recall like there is the really awful, like comically tone deaf attempted rape scene. But
yeah,
most of the time it's, a lot of action, where they like try to catapult themselves over the wall, and like Christian Slater's like, fuck it. They made, they cleared it. Like it's this big deal that he says, fuck it, because apparently that wasn't a thing that people said back then, but they also didn't have mullets and feathered hair. So you got to let some shit slide.
I think a gunpowder, like there's a bunch of things that they certainly didn't have in 1152 or whenever it is that Robin Hood existed, but it's a movie. I don't care. Blow things up. Let them run around the castle. And then I just sit there. I'm having fun because I've been to that castle. It's like, I remember that.
It's just a travel log for you.
It's a travel log for me. Let's get some causoulet and some wine and, enjoy this. And it's you root for them and it's very exciting. I mean, it's like the last third of the movie is, I think, what people remember. Because
I think so, yeah.
That middle section, good Lord, is it boring.
So boring. But the fire with the like baby in danger, and then the troops like capture some of the merry men and bring them back to Sheriff of Nottingham's castle, where he has also kidnapped Maid Marian at this point.
Right.
And he's like, if you marry me, I won't kill all these people, basically. But he's still going to kill some people anyway. I don't know. But one of them is a kid.
He's a liar. Right.
But one of them's like a 10-year-old kid. And I'm like, this is not fun. This is not fun. And they actually hang that kid, and Robin has to like shoot the arrow to like cut the noose, which is really gruesome and hard to watch and not PG-13 friendly, if you ask me.
And also, I look at it differently because the woman the baby that they saved, the mother of 8, she's one of the ones that helps fight at the castle. And I get it. She's stronger than me. She can give birth to 8 kids and still, walk around and be tough and everything and tell jokes and crack wise and all that stuff. But if both the parents are there, what if they both get killed? Those kids are orphans. Like, I'm sorry, honey, I'll fight or you fight. We'll flip for it. But no. Yeah. I look at it now like, well, that's a terrible choice. And where are those kids?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where's the baby's fighting in the corner?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they used like urban sitter, right? They used medieval sitter. I'm sure.
I picture a baby in a little metal outfit, like fighting people.
Little chainmail.
Whacking people around the ankles.
Little chainmail diaper.
Baby fight.
Look, that woman baby fight. It's the most adorable fight ever. That woman, she had 8 kids. She might be super tough, but I'll tell you this, she has no bladder control. Let me just say.
No, exactly. Don't shock her or alarm her because that's gonna,
She 100% pees her pants. That's all I'm saying, you guys. I don't care how tough she is.
No, exactly.
So that stuff's just not as fun to me. I mean, I guess like 20-year-old Sonia was like, "Ah, fuck it, yeah, let's hang a kid, haha." Like, but
We didn't question it.
older Sonia does not like to watch kids hanging with a noose. And then, of course, there's a whole thing where they get Christian Slater's character and they want to hang him too, but they're all out of nooses. Wah wah. That's hilarious. So they're just gonna chop his head off.
It's very violent.
It's very violent. Oh, and we forgot
stakes.
that Christian Slater and Kevin Costner turned out they're brothers.
Oh God, I hate that term. Yeah.
Like that his dad, like, you know, after Kevin Costner's mother died, he like hooked up with Christian Slater's mom and they're brothers. And it's played as this thing, like it's a big secret. And then I don't know, like Costner's just instantly like, I have a brother. It's just such a, this movie doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then we get to like hilarious attempted rape scene with like a creepy witch that is hanging out with the sheriff. And I think she looks like Carol Kane in The Princess Bride. And I just assumed it was her. I assumed that this was a connected cinematic universe, but apparently it isn't. It's a different actress, a different character. Shows what I know. And there's this whole thing about like, she puts her hand on Maid Marian's like stomach and she's like, she is ripe. She will give you. I'm like, that's gross.
It's so disgusting. And he's always lecherous around women. There's a scene earlier where there's a girl and somebody comes and Michael Wincott comes into the room, so she puts the robe back over her shoulders. He goes, "Take it down."
Yeah.
Like,
who said you could get dressed?
Yeah. Who said you could cover your shoulders? So he's attempting to rape her, and then he basically was supposed to joke like he can't get it up.
Yeah.
And then she kicks him in the balls, and then it's
ding,
and
ding,
then
ding.
she's yeah. Once again,
someone gets kicked in the balls.
Ball kicking, and then Robin rescues her because of course she needs to be rescued.
Yes.
That's I guess that's a big part of it, and so he rescues her. And the the sheriff of Nottingham is vanquished. Robin is victorious. And then is it Richard the Third or Richard the Second? Who's the?
I forget.
No, it's Sean Connery.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. So Sean Connery shows up as the king, and he just happened to be getting married outside. He just happens to show up at the very moment that they're starting it.
Because anyone can find this village. I'm telling you, there's a map somewhere. They can all find it.
This is not hard. No.
And he has a Scottish accent, by the way, that nobody seems to bitch about.
No, and apparently in the real life he spoke French, and he was much younger. He only spoke French. But it's Sean Connery. I mean, please, I'm happy for that. That gives it some gravitas for me. I mean, I think it's a fun cameo.
It is. Absolutely.
And they get married and it's all
she's
happily
ripe,
ever after.
so she'll probably give him a son. I mean, that's what the witch said.
9 months later.
I'm looking forward to the sequel.
The sequel is what? Baby fights. Just all
baby fights.
The 8 kids fighting people.
So let's go back to like how the sheriff gets killed. There's
now I've forgotten.
Yeah, there's like hilarious attempted rape, and he is trying to like marry her first. Like he's wasting a lot of time on shit that doesn't matter, right? So it's like, first we must be married because I'm not going to rape her until after we're married because I want something pure. And so that's happening, and then there's just like all this wasted time, and then he's like fighting Robin and fighting, and he goes to kill Robin, and he's got the sword like on Robin's chest, and he like looks away and like looks at her like, prepare to get yours or whatever, and of course Robin kills him because he stopped fighting, and it's like, you're such a dum-dum, Sheriff of Nottingham. And he just dies in like this really like kind of anticlimactic way.
I think that's why I don't remember it. I think it's just like,
and
the
then
movie
Robin stabs
with
him with the dagger that the sheriff had given Maid Marian and she gave to Robin. And I'm like, oh, that's That's lame. Wouldn't it have been better if like Alan Rickman was in the catapult or something? Come on.
It needed more Alan Rickman, but I think Kevin Costner put the kibosh on that. I think he's one of the producers, and I think he was like, no, this guy's stealing the movie from me.
For sure. And by the way, he was.
And he did.
He
by
did.
the way, absolutely. Everyone steals the movie from him. I mean, he's the big star, but I'm sorry. He's very stiff.
Yeah.
In this movie. And he doesn't have the usual charisma that I like for my Costner movies. It's just a little lacking. I think Morgan Freeman is great.
Yeah.
He's having fun. Christian Slater's fine. Also the accent going all over the place. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, she's good. It's a bad part.
Yeah, it's not her fault.
That's not her fault. I tell you, Michael Wincott, I love. Michael McShane as Friar Tuck. He's good.
It's just such a weird tone deaf, tonally all over the place movie. Yeah. And the people who wrote it, I'm sorry to interrupt you. No, go ahead.
The people who wrote it, I think it's a husband and wife couple. It's a man and a woman. And they sold it in 1989 for $1.2 million. And that's 1989 money they got for that script.
Scripts didn't get that kind of dough.
No.
That wasn't a thing back then.
So it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people wanted to make it, and they had different people in mind. And then they got Kevin Costner on board. And he either did this before or after JFK. But he was filming a bunch of stuff.
It's the same year.
So he might have been tired. He might just have been exhausted.
He just needed a nap. Why didn't he take a nap? It'll be fine. It's just not a very good movie. I was really, really disappointed, to be honest. And I'm sorry, listener Joseph, who recommended this. I think he thought we would think it was really fun, but it was a tough one to get through. It wasn't that fun. Did you read about some of the other people that almost got parts?
No, tell me.
So at one point, I guess Richard E. Grant was trying to get the role of Sheriff of Nottingham, which I'm like, he might have been all right at that.
Yeah, no, he can do that. He's a good supporting character.
And then
he's always interesting.
Yeah, and then for Marion, Elizabeth Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, that would have been great. Patsy Kensit, Nicole Kidman, Jolie Richardson, and Ali Sheedy were all considered.
I thought it was Robin Wright. And then she got pregnant, and that's when they got Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, like at the last minute. I think that's what happened.
I think that's right. And then I also read that they offered the Christian Slater role to Johnny Depp.
Oh, God.
Which he would have just all, like, turned it into something totally different.
He would have played it as Keith Richards, so let's be clear.
He totally would have. Maybe that would have been very entertaining. Have you seen any of the other Robin Hood movies that have come out since then? Like,
I told you, I almost rented the one from, is it from the 60s or the 70s? It's the Disney one.
Yeah.
I love that one.
I remember loving that one. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, though.
I'm just not into the story.
I don't know. I think I probably would like the story, but nothing about them were interesting enough to make me see them. Like the 2010 one stars Russell Crowe, and I was like, meh.
Yeah.
And then there was one last year that stars like that guy from the Kingsman or whatever, and I was like, meh. I don't want to see that either.
I think it's the same kind of thing, though, right? They're just out in the woods, and it's the same. There's a Sheriff of Nottingham. Wasn't there a TV series based on this? I feel like there was. I think there was. And then Sean Connery played Robin Hood.
Yeah.
In the 70s.
Right.
And that's why he agreed to play the king. And he was paid $250,000, and he gave it all to charity.
That's
which I
cool.
think is really cool. Yeah, which I think is very cool.
That is cool. And of course, I love the original one, the like Errol Flynn Robin Hood.
Oh, sure. That's fun.
It's super fun and cool to look at. And yeah, I like that one. Just, I can't bring myself to watch these other ones. And I think Men in Tights really crucified Robin Hood to the point where like people mix them up now. Like if I told my brother like, oh, I saw Prince of Thieves, I think he would start quoting Men in Tights and think he was quoting Prince of Thieves.
I think Carrie Elwes was also in the running to play Robin Hood, and he was busy doing something else, and
Yeah.
so that's why he took the part with the Mel Brooks one.
I think he made the right choice.
I totally think he made the right choice. I'd see that again.
Yeah. It is, yeah, sorry, this one did not age well. I did write a list of other 90.
Oh,
I
good.
wrote down the 91 top 10 movies. So
Go for it.
number 1 was Terminator 2, which was obviously a huge, huge, huge hit. Number 2 was Robin Hood. 3, Beauty and the Beast. 4, Hook. 5, Silence of the Lambs. 6, JFK. 7, Addams Family. 8, Cape Fear. And number 9, Hot Shots. And number 10, City Slickers.
I saw all those movies in a movie theater.
Me too.
Every
all of
single
them.
one of them. Yeah.
Same.
Okay, so I think I have the top TV from 1991, but I only have the top 5 because I didn't
That's
have that much room on my paper. Okay, so number 1 was 60 Minutes, which was like number 1 for like decades.
Yes.
I think, yeah. Number 2, Roseanne, when that
Oh.
was good. Yeah. Number 3, Murphy Brown.
All these shows have been rebooted.
I know.
That's hilarious.
Number 4, Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers was on. It's like, and then the number 5 was a show I've never seen, Home Improvement.
Oh my God, you're so lucky. I wish I had never seen it. That's one of those shows that my parents super loved. And I was like, ugh, this again. Like, not my thing.
My roommate interviewed the woman who played his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, Patricia or something? Or I'm sorry, blanking on her name. And she worked for this TV magazine, but it wasn't TV Guide, but it was kind of a TV Guide ripoff. And it was included in Sunday papers.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those kind of things.
I know exactly what one you're talking about.
But it doesn't exist anymore because newspapers barely exist anymore.
Yes.
It's just so. But she had these great assignments. She would interview people all the time. And I said, "So what was this woman like?" She goes, "She was so nice, so down to earth." She said, "But off the record, she was like, I can't wait for the show to get canceled. I hate my part. It's stupid.
Yeah.
My brain cells are dying." Like she was just like, yeah, she was ready to go.
I could totally see that. I mean, she was basically like, oh, Tim,
Right.
like, oh, Tim Allen, what kind of shenanigans have you gotten into now, from what I understand? Because like I said, did not watch on a regular basis.
No, but I watched every episode of Cheers. I loved Murphy Brown.
Yes. Me
and
too.
Roseanne.
Did you watch the reboot of Murphy Brown at all?
I've seen clips of it. I really wish I put it on. I guess I'll see if it's on CBS streaming or something like that. Because I want to support it. I mean, in general, I want to support them.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for another streaming service, so I'm not.
Dude.
I did not get CBS All Access, and I'm like, someday Murphy Brown will come to Netflix or Hulu, and then I'll get to watch it.
It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah.
Because Disney's going to have their own thing, and they bought Fox.
Yeah.
And they have Marvel, so they're going to have an interesting catalog. But it's like you said, like after a while, it's like they add up, like $8.99, $9.99 each for all of them. I wanted to cut the cord, but it's just as expensive.
I know. It's the exact same thing here. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. We're going to have to make some choices.
Yeah.
It's going to be like
exactly.
Sophie's Choice here.
Yeah.
It's going to be awful. I'm actually kind of surprised this movie made as much money as it did because, the weekend before, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead and Beastmaster 2 came out.
Who knew Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead would be the one I would want to talk about 25 years later? And Rob, if you had asked me then, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to love Robin Hood forever. It's so much fun. There's so much action. I'm like, there's not much of either.
No.
Except for, I mean, once again, Alan Rickman, he's like the reason to see it.
Yeah. That is the only thing. Do you have anything else you're dorking out about, Margo?
The only thing I've got this week that I'm dorking out about is the IFC show documentary now. And
did the new season start?
The new season just started.
Oh, okay.
And what they do is they take documentaries that are pretty famous and then they just spoof on them. And so Netflix had one called Wild Wild Country,
which I loved.
which I love too. And Seth Meyers wrote this, and it's called Batshit Valley. And it's just a complete spoof on it. And it looks dated. Like, it looks like it was recorded in 79, 80. They do all the spoofing that they do, like in Wild Wild Country, that, you know, they had food poisoning be a part of the plot. In here, it's pink eye. And they have people going to a salad bar and rubbing their faces in the salad mixes. And everybody gets pink eye. I laughed so hard.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, sorry, spoiler, but yeah, that new season just started, so I'm just loving it.
I am going to be watching that because that sounds really, really funny. I'm like, by the time this episode comes out, no one wants to talk about the Oscars, but that's kind of what I was dorking out about for a little while, because I was kind of fascinated with the idea of the hostless Oscars, and I thought that was fine.
I thought the hostless thing was fine. I think that's where they're going to go in the future, because time is money.
Yeah.
And it was a quicker show.
Yeah. I like the welcoming committee at the beginning with Maya Rudolph and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, and then they just moved it right along, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Thanks.
It went at a great pace.
Yeah.
I not too many montages. I liked the people that they picked to present. I thought they were interesting choices. Really good mix. They didn't just stick to the old formula. I'm glad they shook it up just enough. But ultimately, what I was not happy with some of the winners. Yeah. It's not fair to say because I haven't seen Green Book, but I was disappointed about it.
Yeah. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 big step back.
Yeah.
At the Oscars. And it honestly, it kind of usually is. So what are you going to do? But I did, other than some of the winners, you know, like you said, I actually thought the show was pretty good.
I thought it was great. And there were a lot of women won, a lot of women of color.
Yes. That was pretty cool.
I always, and you know, it was a one movie that was about a period, menstruation. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's on Netflix. I'm going to watch that one.
I'm going to watch it too. And I just, I mean, overall, I thought, what is the name of the actor who plays Black Panther? Boseman?
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman, sorry. When Green Book was announced, there's a great shot that's a meme on the internet. He just looks over at Michael B. Jordan and just like raises eyebrows like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a good one. I also saw an interview with Spike Lee after. I think he was walking into one of the parties, and this journalist is like, what do you think about Green Book winning? And I'm sure the journalist already knows the answer to this, but Spike Lee's like, are you British? And he's like, yes, I am. And he's like, well, let me put it in a way that you can understand. He says, it wasn't my cup of tea. And then he lets out this maniacal laugh, like, and like runs off. It was like he was the Joker or something, especially with that purple suit.
It was great. He was a villain.
Yeah. I thought it was a really good answer, and I was happy to see Spike Lee win for Black Klansman. I wish he had won more awards.
But I'm really happy for him, and he seemed genuinely excited.
Yeah, I think so too, and that was cool. And then the other things I wrote down was the new season of Chef's Table has started on Netflix, and I'm super into Chef's Table.
Ooh.
And we watched the first one last night, and it's really, really, it's always just super interesting, super beautiful. You know, the footage is gorgeous. The food is so cool. I can't eat most of the food that they show because I'm a vegan, but it's still super beautiful, and I love it. And I wish they did more than like 4 episodes every season, but I think they take a while to film. They're just meticulous, and the photography is just really gorgeous. So I'm excited about that. And then I read today, one more thing, and then I'll be done, about a 90210 reboot. Did you watch 90210 back in the day?
Did I watch it? Oh
we
my
all
God,
did,
I watched
right?
it that in Melrose Place, yeah.
Yeah, we all did, because once
there was
again,
nothing else on.
There was nothing else on. We had 4 channels. And also 90210 was one of those shows that like started airing in the summer, and new episodes in the summer, and everything else was reruns. So you were like, holy shit, new episodes of something during the summer. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it was new. Like you said, it was totally new. Yeah. And it was a reason to stay home and watch it. I loved it.
Yeah. And so I was all excited. Embarrassingly, I was kind of excited for a reboot. And then I read that it's just like this kind of spoof of a reboot. Like, the original cast playing like heightened versions of themselves, like trying to like reboot the show. And I was like, oh no, I want like a reboot.
No, that's too meta.
Yeah, I don't want meta. I want like a real reboot. I want to learn about Kelly and Brandon and Dylan.
And the Peach Pit.
Yeah, I don't care about like I did try watching the one they did a couple years ago with the all new cast, and then it also had like Kelly in it, but I got bored and stopped watching.
That was such a product of its time. You said, it was because it's like young people, and they had all these romances, and it was so over the top.
Yeah.
And then we got Melrose Place, which was so much better, and even that was so awesome. The first few years, that show was amazing.
Yeah, because it was like really heightened, like soap opera craziness on Melrose. But the 90210 stuff, it was like those first like 2 or 3 seasons were very like after school special.
Yep.
And then shit got real. Like when they got to they just started like having them all sleeping with each other, and like it was awesome.
It was amazing.
I loved it, and I wish it was a proper reboot, but it isn't. So I'm not going to watch that. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
The best place to find me on social media is at Brooklyn Fitchick, especially on Twitter and Instagram, and my blog that you helped design for me. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It's brooklynfitchick.com.
And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and on Twitter at The Sonia Show. And that's Sonia with an I. I'm on Twitter a lot. That's a great place to find me. You can find Dorking Out Show at dorkingout.com and on Twitter at Dorking Out Show. And we're on Facebook at Dorking Out Show. And this was super fun as always.
Margo?
I'm so glad that we were able to talk about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I just called you Margo. That's my other co-host for my other show. That's how out of it I am at this point. Sonia.
Yes.
You know what?
What?
Everything you do, I do it for you. Or everything I do it for you. See, I'm getting it all wrong. I need a break. I need a nap. I'm exhausted.
Everything I do it for you.